What's going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today I want to talk to you about SoFi. It is having another very epic day. I want to go over some of the data points, break down what shorts are doing, as well as kind of piggyback off of what I mentioned last video about a broad market rotation and what that really means for SoFi. Before I get into any of that, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. Starting off, it is up 6.07%. We're currently in power hour, roughly around 30 minutes left in the trading day. A lot of volume, so 49.1 million shares being traded, 33.3 is the average. These are some of the transactions so far in the secondary market above $100,000. So another day that big money is very much looking at SoFi, and that's one thing that you definitely do need. So there was a couple of big ones today, so 3.67 million, and just a lot of kind of lower end $100,000 transactions. So regardless, this is very, very good stuff, and it's been basically this case ever since CPI and kind of around those data points did come out, because like I mentioned last video, there's just a lot of optimism now towards rate cuts as far as September. So September 18th, now there is a 93.3% likelihood of a 25 basis point cut, and that is followed by a potential another 25 basis point cut on the November 7th meeting, and that is a 62.1%. Today, retail sales did come out, and that does signal that the market is normal. And what I mean by that, it sounds stupid to say it out loud like that, but in the past, whenever we've had data, we've really hoped for negative data to really validate and justify rate cuts. But today, retail sales came in flat, so 0%. Forecast was -3. -0.3. And so of course that is better than what was forecasted. In the past, that would really prompt more of a sell-off in the broader market. But if anything, the market took off as what it should. So I think in reality, the market has accepted that those two rate cuts are going to happen, or at least one. And now we are somewhat normal about data points and how they're kind of being interpreted. But I did bring up yesterday how a lot of analysts are starting to see two back-to-back rate cuts, how that would really prompt a very big market rotation. And I brought this up, like I said already, but this is all the money that is sitting in money markets. So very safe stuff. They're obviously anticipating a pullback. Clearly never really happened. Roughly around $6 trillion at all-time highs. So in essence, a lot of people might wonder, okay, what does that truly mean? For those of you that have been in the market for roughly around 5 years, you'll notice that from 2020 to 2021, stocks went up to the fucking moon. Everyone was just, you could throw a dart at any stock and it would go up. Basically, money was pumping into the market at that time. Obviously, stimulus checks and whatever else were kind of attributing to that. But nonetheless, this is what happens with a market rotation. A huge amount of capital rushes into the equity market, and it already is starting. So I did look at this website just based on the last 5 days alone. There is roughly around, between the New York Stock Exchange, NASDAQ, and CBOE, roughly around 15% in additional volume just today, and the market's not even closed right now. There's still another about 30 minutes left in the trading day. 14%, and then 12, or rounding up to 13%. So this is a very good telltale sign that this rotation that I did mention is starting. So again, I'm sure some of you might be wondering, what the hell are you even talking about? What does any of this truly mean? Well, let's look back over the last 5 years. So this is 2021. Everything was going up. So this is SoFi. Let's pull up some of my other random stuff on my watch list. Random stuff. NEO, 2021. Again, this is where rotation, huge amounts of capital is getting into the market. What happens to the underlying stocks? Let's pull up Rivian. Well, I guess Rivian, just their IPO. That's not a good example, but Lucid, very similar scenario. PayPal, very similar scenario. Nike, I don't know if that, yeah, Nike somewhat went up, but obviously it goes to show what happens to growth stocks. Huge bumps up in the stock price. So in essence, what has happened over the last several trading days for SoFi, and even in SoFi it kind of ran up quite a lot, but in SoFi's case, what has happened over the last several trading days has been linked to optimism as well as its own current technicals. But with a kind of a starting of this rotation to happen, this is where SoFi could go up very, very fast. And I'm not just talking about like $8. I'm not talking about $9. This is where it could easily get back to these levels, hands down. So once again, that's just my own interpretation, but I like to follow the data. I'm sure you guys are familiar with that on this channel. And based on this, it does look like there is an increase in volume. So once again, let me know your thoughts on that. As of today, no official news from SoFi, no SEC filings, nothing along those lines. Just a lot of optimism, like I kind of mentioned. $7.82 the high, $7.35 the low. I am really happy I did buy in when I did. Obviously, I posted my last purchase, which was $6.30. That is, or sorry, $6.16. I actually bought that. It wasn't all that much though, but yeah, this is crazy. I absolutely love this price action. When it comes down to data points though, shorts are finally admitting somewhat of a defeat, not a squeeze or anything, but they are returning net 1.31 million shares. 17.61% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 182.82 million shares overall are being shorted. Utilization 66.73. Short score, so the higher the number, the higher the likelihood of a squeeze happening, is 74.64%. Looking at options and all the other fun jazz, 17 million in calls, 5.63 million in puts. Very evenly divided between calls and puts, as you can kind of tell today. But right now, just to look at the open interest, because that's been obviously a big pain in SoFi's past, but 42,000 at that 7, 37,000 at the 750 strike price, and then 80,000 at the 8. So given the momentum, yes, it could really test that 8, but 80,000, that is crazy of a wall. So I don't know if SoFi is able to get above at least $80 this round, unless a whole new different level of FOMO kicks in at this stage, but would be epic to see SoFi back above the $8 range. So let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. With it at 777, it is trading between this R2 and this R3. So 797 is going to be that next strong resistance / target, and then 750 is going to be that next strong support. So yeah, I think this run is justified. I think a lot of us do generally know that SoFi should not have been in the 6s. I know sometimes the technicals and whatever else kind of justified it and somewhat signaled a downtrend, but still, like, based on what they're a profitable company. So I feel like it's one of those kind of things that I mentioned about a broken stock versus a broken company. So it was just simply a broken stock. Just clearly the price action didn't correlate with what was happening with the actual business, day-to-day business. So I think all in all, very exciting times might be ahead for SoFi as well as the broader market. On the actual chart itself, it is higher percentile of the boiling band. You do see on stochastic it being very overbought. So the first sign of weakness, as I've pointed out in the past, you could see a little bit more of a pullback, but right now things seem to be really just kicking ass. FOMO's in full force, and you do also see a nice bullish deviation, so white line above the red, and number of retail investors cannot get enough of SoFi. So another unique circumstance where both institutions and SoFi retail are buying. So let me know your thoughts on SoFi. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up, give yourself a shout out in the comments as far as if you've been buying, have you been doing options. I've seen more and more people comment, I guess, that they're learning options. As I always say, I highly recommend you guys learning options. If you were, for instance, going to be buying at this price, just sell the closest strike a put. That way you collect the premium and you kind of get a discount essentially. So highly recommend you guys kind of researching all that. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. One final thing, if you do like my channel and want to support the growth, take a look at my memberships, link in the description below and also the comments. I normally don't really push that, but I did have a couple comments saying about memberships, so just figured I'd put that out there. With all that said though, appreciate all of you watching.